This is Smokin' Jamgrass. I'm Brian.
I'm Jolie, and we'd like to share with you the music we love, progressive bluegrass, and its roots. First and third Sundays of the month from 2 to 3 p.m. right here on KMUZ.
You and I headed straight into the west.
Hello and welcome to the show, everyone. This week we have so much to cover with the very last String Summit, the last verse, coming to North Plains, Oregon in July. We're talking to one of the original organizers about everything you need to know about going to Summit this year.
The lineups may change from year to year, but the one constant has always been the host band, Yonder Mountain String Band. And we're stoked to have an interview with the original banjo founding member, Dave Johnston. We get to reminisce and play live tracks from musicians who have been there over the years, so get ready to get down and crank it up for this special episode of Smokin' Jamgrass.
They don't care about Dallas, Texas. They don't care about Wichita. If you're ever in Oklahoma, you better move around the law. They don't care about Dallas, Texas. They don't care about Wichita. If you're ever in Oklahoma, you better move around the law. If you're ever in Oklahoma, you better move around the law.
Oklahoma, that's Yonder Mountain String Band, of course, playing at the very first String Summit out in North Plains, Oregon at Horning's Hideout on June 29th, 2002. This year, it's the very last String Summit, 20 years later. It's called The Last Verse, happening July 21st through 24th. And to talk about all things String Summit this year, we have with us one of the organizers, Sky McDonald. Sky, thanks for joining us here on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So the lineup is amazing. There's so many acts coming to Northwest String Summit this year. Can you tell us some of the highlights?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So going into our 20th anniversary and even more so determining it to be the last String Summit, we wanted to recognize all of the family that has been along for this ride the last 20 years. And so we wanted to have them all and it's really, Yonder and the greater Jamgrass community. And then we wanted to pay homage to our, kind of dead base. And that's what brought on Joe Russo's Almost Dead and Umphrey's McGee. And there's interconnections between all of these bands along the way. But that was really kind of what got us looking into it all, I suppose.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm just looking at the whole list going, wow, it's kind of blowing me away. We were there from the beginning, the very first String Summit. What made you start doing String Summit in the first place 20 years ago?
So to clarify the origins of String Summit, there was actually another promoter involved originally. It started out even before it was at Horning's Hideout. It was at Dexter Lake, east of Eugene. It was called Dexter Lake Music Festival for 2 years, and Yonder was the headliner, and the promoter at the time, Segway Productions, put it on. It outgrew that, and that's about the time that Hornings came on the radar, thanks to Leftover Salmon and String Cheese incident.
Yes. And
we together branded the event and worked through the first year. The first year was really rainy and soggy, and not so many people turned out, but we continued on and persevered, and Segway stepped out of the picture, and Greg and I filled those shoes.
Yeah, we were actually at the first one. I remember the bowl, it used to be all grass, and then it poured that first day, and then the bowl turned into a mud pit.
That's right.
And from that very fateful mud pit, here's one from June 30th, 2002, High on a Hilltop.
land below, looking for that love of mine left 20 long years ago. Her love I took in vain, her love I did not earn. Love is something that you might find, and pain is what you learn. On a hilltop looking for my love below. Picked up a fiddle, soft tune, looking for my dear. I'll search this whole world over, through the country, through the town. I'll keep on looking for that little girl till I'm in the lonesome ground. On the hilltop looking for my love below. Did ramble, look around her without a home. But now my aged tired eyes rest upon my bones. But now the girl is gone, wherever she may be. I hope sometimes she sees the stars and maybe thinks of me. Sees the stars and maybe thinks of me. Sometimes she sees the stars and maybe thinks of me. Sees the stars and maybe thinks of me.
We're talking with Northwest String Summit's organizer Sky McDonald about the upcoming Last String Summit on the 20th anniversary, dubbed The Last Verse. What's the finality? Why is it the final verse?
Honestly, all good things must come to an end. And the last 2 years has been quite a upheaval for the industry and individuals. You know, coming out of a pandemic where we were limited in having any events, we tried to do the picking party this summer, socially distanced, and it was a lot of fun, but it was really a struggle. We just thought that it was time.
So this one is completely sold out at this point. What's the capacity, by the way, out there?
5,000 paid a day.
If people can't make it there and they have tickets they want to unload, what should they do?
That's a great question. And in this day and age, scammers and scalpers abound. So if you go to stringsummit.com/tickets, you'll see we have a partnership set up with Cash or Trade for people to go and properly vet someone who may be selling or buying a pass. And it's only for trading for other tickets or at face value. And the transaction is a safe and secure one, and that's really the best option.
And so with it being sold out and others may not be able to get in, do you have any plans, or can you talk about a live stream option?
We are certainly looking into that. We don't have any plans as of yet. We do have partners that have captured the events about the last 10 years, and they've done a wonderful job of helping us, propel the brand and create amazing content for the bands to use all these years. We expect we'll do the same this year. We just don't know what that'll look like yet.
So of the headliners, I was looking at the poster and wondering when everybody is going to be playing. Can you tell us a little bit more about the schedule?
We're still setting it. It's still amorphous with people solidifying their routings and so forth.
Right.
But each band that's on the top line of the poster billing will be headlining one of the nights. And Yonder has been the musical host all along. They're going to be there throughout. So they'll be playing a couple gigs as Yonder Mountain String Band, but they'll be doing side projects and sit-ins throughout the whole week. In a typical fashion, we'll have 5 stages operating for all 4 days.
Wow.
So there'll be literally 90 hours of nearly contiguous music.
Wow, 5 stages. So how does that set? I remember the one down by the river. There's the main stage.
There's main stage. There's Cascadia, which is down by the creek.
Yes.
There will be the Kinfolk Revival stage, which is at the back of the vending area.
Okay.
There will be the Tweener stage, which is at the top of the bowl, and bands play for the 30 to 45 minutes in between the main stage
Cool.
acts, and then there's also the Not for Kids Only stage.
Nice.
That is, within our really robust kids area, which is a festival in and of itself.
No doubt.
Right.
Yeah, all the parades over the years, man. Watching everybody grow up, and it's got a lot of history there.
So there's going to be a lot of other planned and of course unplanned activities. There may be some more stages that pop up within campgrounds, officially or unofficially.
Right.
And also there's going to be a really cool setup. Some of our partner brands and sponsors are also planning to develop some I think it's a stage or 2, maybe OVA. So we'll see. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of music.
Yeah, no kidding. What a way to go out. Is it fun? I mean, you got to be watching people coming back over the years and watching kids grow up. I mean, this got to be kind of a bittersweet thing for you, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's very personal for me. That's where my wife and I met, and my kids have been going all along. I've witnessed personally maybe 6 or 7 weddings. I've seen countless birthdays and anniversaries, celebrated at String Summit, and I don't even want to put a number on the number of conceptions that have happened as a result or at. But yeah, some of my best friends in the world came out of the scene, working with Yonder Mountain String Band and then the greater Jamgrass scene. It's lifelong friends, and I don't know that this is the end of all the productions work that we'll do, but it is the last Northwest String Summit.
Thank you, Sky McDonald, for information on the very last String Summit, the last verse, July 21st through 24th.
And now from somebody that's been at Summit a handful of times, it's the Silver Fox himself, Del McCoury with Yonder Mountain String Band. From Summit 2009, it's Prisoner's Song.
It's all things String Summit on Smokin' Jamgrass KMUZ.
I'm blind to the McGee, thank you. Mr. Del McCoury, friends, give him all your love.
It's Smoke and Jamgrass on KMUZ, Dal McCoury and Yonder Mountain String Band from Summit 09. We're listening to some live tracks recorded at Northwest String Summit throughout the years, and thank you so much for all the tapers and Peacock Radio for doing so. That song, Prisoner's Song, was written by Guy Massey. It was one of the best-selling songs of the 1920s. Brian, is that your phone ringing?
Oh, yeah, somebody's calling. Hold on a second.
All right, pick it up.
Hi, this is Dave Johnston calling from Yonder Mountain.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, thanks for calling. We're long-time fans, first-time listeners. No, first-time callers?
First-time callers.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. So this year we're looking at the very last string summit called The Last Verse. And, I mean, what are your feelings going into the very last string summit out at North Plains at Bob Horning's Hideout?
I have to say it's like obviously it's bittersweet. I think it's more sweet than bitter. There's so many special and wonderful things about that party that are totally unique to Horning's Hideout and totally unique to the event that Greg and Sky have created along with us. I'm sad to see it go, but at the same time, I feel like I can look back and think that Greg and Sky and Bob Horning and Yonder Mountain have kind of made their mark with like a really amazing time.
Yeah, it's like raising a child almost that's just gone off to college.
I think that is a totally apt simile there for sure. It's time to grow and it's time it's time for a change, and maybe out of all this we can learn to appreciate what has happened, and maybe appreciate that and have faith in the idea that something else is going to happen soon too.
Right.
There's all sorts of different avenues you can take when you think about it, and I like the latter. So.
Do you have any memories of those early days? Any specific memories from the very beginning that
oh
stick with
yeah,
you?
totally.
Yes.
Like watching Hot Rise play was a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, whoa, Hot Rise is back together, and that's them. It's Tim and Nick and Pete and Brian Sutton filling in for Charles.
Yes.
It's just like, whoa, this is so cool. It was also David Grisman, the quintet playing there was like, that's like mind blowing stuff, and all the years with Danny Barnes and the Bad Livers. The Bad Livers was like a huge band for me. I thought they were amazing.
Yeah.
And seeing Danny play, and then all that stuff to me, those guys are like heroes and legends to me. So that they would come to our party was really something else.
But let you know, go splitting at the seam. I love my little baby like I love my old machine, and she left me for a fella she hardly. I'm on a death trip, baby. I'm on a death trip, baby. I'm on a death trip, baby. Down. I'm on a death trip, baby. I'm on a death trip, baby. I'm on a death trip, baby. Down. Well, man told me better pack up all my things. Find a place to live if I had a half a brainy limb, selling paper, standing, freezing in the rain. I thank Jesus every day that I won't grow up again. I'm on a death trail, baby. 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 I'm on a death trail. said my world was burning down. Daddy said he didn't want to see my face around. The police pulled me over on the other side of town. The lawyer and the deacon said I sold it by the pound. I'm on a death trail, baby. 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 Let's play our big league boy. She took out all her dresses and her picture and all. She left her car standing running at the shopping mall and the phone. The ever rang, I'm staring at the wall. I'm on a damn trail, baby. 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 Well, I finally found a woman she could eat my troubled mind. I hug her in the morning and kiss her all the time when I come home from work. You can swing the baby shine. The boss man tried to keep me working overtime. The sun shines down on her face all the time. When her car won't start, I can let her drive it mine. I'm on a damn trail, baby. 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 Let's let the banjo go.
Smoking Jamgrass on KMUZ. That was Bad Livers with guest star Jeff Austin on mandolin doing Death Trip from 7/17/09 Northwest String Summit.
We are playing live tracks and reminiscing about the days of Old String Summit as we come up on the very last String Summit, the last verse, July 21st through 24th. And on the phone with us, we have Dave Johnston from Yonder Mountain String Band. He plays the banjo. So I'd like to talk a little bit about your personal journey through the band, if you don't mind, and what brought you up to this day. So I understand that it kind of all started out when you were in college and you were a writing major, right?
Yeah, I was a creative writing major, or rhetoric they called it. But
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then very short time, you learned how to play the banjo, and we're in a band called Giblet Gravy.
Yeah, right.
Which is a great name. And then you wound up forming, did you co-found the Bluegrass Holes? Was that all you? How did that come together?
That was me and a couple of my other buddies, Ethan and Ken Wilson, and then later on Jeff joined that band. But I would say that Giblet Gravy and the Bluegrass Holes are largely have something to do with me. I don't know.
How did you learn banjo so quickly? Just picking it up?
I appreciate that. I'm still learning the banjo. I had a friend of mine. His name's John Sampson, and I lived with him when it would be 94 or even 93 that year. He brought a banjo to college, and his dad was like into folk and bluegrass music. And he brought this banjo, and I found that I could make music on it right away, and I kind of just really absorbed me. And then as soon as I could, I went and bought my own banjo. It was really junky, and I just spent a lot of time, kind of aimlessly wandering around the banjo. Listening to lots of banjo music, and I first got really exposed to bluegrass in college, and it really absorbed a lot of my imagination. And that with writing, I thought, well, I wonder if I could make songs up and play them on the banjo, and they all kind of dovetailed and went together. And I sort of had this idea that maybe I could find a way to do that, and at the same time, I was like, I don't really want a regular job, so maybe I can find a way to make some amount of money doing this. And that was really the only guiding principle.
Wow, quite a vision.
Yeah, right.
What would you say if somebody's just picking up the banjo and they're inspired by somebody like you? Any advice for new players?
I think that if you have the opportunity, or you have a phone or anything, you can record yourself, on your phone, and then you can play the song with your recording. You know what I mean? So you learn how you sound, and you learn, what you can do. It's a really great way to learn music.
Yeah, not be too critical of yourself probably along the way.
Well, but yeah, and it does teach you to not be critical of yourself, this is what I sound like today, so this is what I need to, if you want to get better, you try to fix the parts that you don't like.
You're a great dad, Dave.
Were you completely were you completely self-taught, Dave? Did you have a teacher?
I would say for the first 4 or 5 years, I was just totally doing it by myself.
Wow. Right on.
I hooked up with a guy named Pete Wernick, and he gave me some great lessons about how to be a professional, and
awesome.
He was a good mentor to me. And then as I became, successful more and more, I kind of would seek out other banjo players that I like Craig Smith in North Carolina and Danny Barnes. I just feel like you can always learn more about music. There's so much out there.
Yeah.
And there's so many people with great with great knowledge about how to do it, and even now, like, there's people that I, would probably go study with immediately. So,
Yeah, Doc, you can't go wrong with Dr. Banjo as your teacher.
yeah, right, or Danny Barnes or Craig or any of those guys, and then if you feel like you don't need banjo lessons, you could always be like, oh, well, like, where can I learn how to write music?
Yes.
What are the different ways of writing lyrics? What are the, like, all that stuff. It's like, it's out there, and people would probably share it with you, and then, you have a new thing to learn, and that's a big part of everything for me. So,
Did you guys, when you guys first formed the band, did you kind of have a vision of getting into this whole jam grass thing? It seems like, the early stuff was really traditional to start, and then it morphed into this whole new genre that you guys helped to perpetuate.
Well, no, we didn't have any real blueprints for doing that. We were just one night we were playing in San Francisco at a place called Club Coquetry, and we still thought of ourselves primarily as kind of like a new bluegrass type band, a la like Seldom Seen,
Yeah.
And then we just had this one moment during one of the songs where just something happened chemically on stage. Like, it's like, neurochemically or something happened where all of a sudden we found ourselves like just in a whole different musical space that was heavily influenced by bluegrass, but wasn't bluegrass. And it happened totally organically and in the moment. And I don't think people at the show were really aware of what was happening, other than that they liked it. That was the same with us. And so that's kind of when we first had the moment that, like, hey, there's like this relationship between playing music this way and the crowd, and their energy and our energy are feeding off each other. And we just kind of, we were lucky enough to sort of have that given to us, and it worked for it worked for a great, vibe and moment. Certainly is, the luckiest I've ever been.
It continues to go on. I mean, we're seeing this genre just growing and growing, and new faces in the crowd, and it's kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm tickled that it's proven to be fertile ground for so many people.
Yeah. You guys were kind of influenced at the beginning by Leftover Salmon and String Cheese Incident. How much was that part of your growth after that moment in San Francisco?
Well, we're sort of, Leftover and String Cheese, like, they kind of like cultivated this idea that, hey, like, bluegrass music and bluegrass instrumentation does really well, like, in like kind of like the more like countercultural hippie kind of experience, and they're that's where their influence mainly lies with us. We're like, oh well, I mean, we just sought to differentiate ourselves from them by not having like a drum kit,
Right.
And so those guys both those bands had already done a lot of groundwork, for a band like Yonder to thrive. And, Leftover in particular has always been very, very helpful. And same with Cheese. We just ended up being friends with Leftover because they lived in the same town,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I remember y'all opening for them at Dexter, kind of pre-Summit time, and going on tour with them a bunch, and then having them reunite at Summit. I can't remember which one that was, but
right.
Yeah, the connections run deep.
Yeah, with Danny Barnes playing banjo, and then Leftover getting back together at String Summit. Yeah, that was a really wonderful moment for everyone. I thought it was really great.
We are speaking with Dave Johnston of Yonder Mountain String Band. about his journey and our journey with him on Northwest String Summit and the band, and all the wonderful musicians they've played with over the years, alongside leftover Salmon buddies Drew Emmett and Andy Thorne, and also Larry Keel. From String Summit 2013, this is one of our favorite songs by John Hartford, Cuckoo's Nest. You're listening to Smokin' Jamgrass on KMUZ.
A tiny dancer in a field of blue. Like a song took off the plays, it makes me come on slowly. The rhythm that makes me mad, and the insane style that makes me glad. The California tune in the Mississippi style makes me come on slowly. Trying to be real cool and soft, so I won't take a chance turning you off and watching how you operate when the chips out of town makes me come on slowly. It isn't that I really want to make it up to the truth, baby. If I had a chance to be in the middle of watching how you operate when the chips out of town makes me come on slowly. Yes, a tiny dancer in a field of blue. Like a song Tchaikovsky plays, make me go on slowly. Your raven hair, it makes me mad. The insane style that makes me glad. The California dream in the Mississippi style makes me come on slowly. It isn't that I really want to make it come true, baby. If I had a chance to be in the hill, watching how you operate when the chips off the town makes me come on slow. It isn't that I want it, isn't what it isn't that I want it, isn't it isn't that I want it, that I want it, that I want it, come on slowly. tiny dancer and you feel the blue. Like the song Tchaikovsky plays, makes me come on slowly. Your raven hair and makes me mad, oh, your insane style makes me glad. Your California dreaming, Washington style makes me come on slowly. Trying to be real cool and soft, don't take a chance with time to be on. Still fire you up a real little dog, make me up. It isn't that what you wanna make it all come true, baby. If I had a chance to be another deal, watching how you operate when the zip down makes me come on slowly.
That was Cuckoo's Nest from Northwest String Summit in 2013. Right now we have banjo player from Yonder Mountain String Band, Dave Johnston, on the line.
You've got a new mandolin player, and I'm going to ask you to help me pronounce his last name.
You got it.
I'm going to guess. Piccinini.
That is correct.
Yes.
All right, so Nick Piccinini, he's new to the band, and where did you find him? Where'd he come from?
Well, he's actually friends with Allie.
Oh.
And Allie got us in touch with him.
Oh, cool.
So that's how, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
And we played with him one night in upstate New York, you know, near his neck of the woods. And, yeah, we were like, oh, he's really good. And he's a good singer and good writer and, like, really dedicated guy. And his understanding of bluegrass and bebop is really amazing. So
Nice. Right.
Dave, there was a, coming out of the pandemic, it was really hard on everybody, and especially musicians and artists, and, kind of coming out, hopefully, knock on wood, coming out of this pandemic. What were y'all doing during the shutdown? How did you release your creative vibe?
Well, yeah, good question. Well, for me, first it was panic. And then, actually, in the midst, in the height of the pandemic, or the shutdown, I guess you'd say the pandemic's still going on, but the shutdown
Right.
stuff. Like, I had two kids I had to homeschool, so
Oh, wow.
I was actually, and my wife was a teacher, so she was at home too,
wow.
teaching remotely. So, like, I had a whole lot of stuff that I had to manage just day to day. So creatively speaking, like, a lot of my imagination was spent on finding ways to keep the kids learning and keep everything calm and keep things moving along, or tread water, or however you want to have it. I did have, some really great moments with my family where we would sit around and have a few drinks and talk about music we like, and we would, listen to music and play dominoes and stuff like that. And so, like, in the midst of all the shutdown stuff, like, I felt like I had a lot of opportunities that I took to, like, be inspired by, like, music that my kids like, or music, that I wouldn't normally seek out, And so with that in mind, I ended up, listening to artists that, maybe I wouldn't have thought to think about. People like Post Malone or Casey Musgraves or, Maren Morris. And I ended up having, like, a kind of more of an appreciation for popular music that was happening. And what happened is that kind of rubbed off on me, and I sort of was like, oh, well, I feel like I want to write more like that, or I can see the value of writing music that comes closer to that than maybe I would have in the past. I guess I became less stuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the young energy, and so did that kind of translate into some playing for you, or like trying different ways on the banjo and
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Or just like, oh, I like that chord structure, or that melody is really cool, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how like my creativity kind of got a boost from it all. So
Yeah, it's a good way to make a positive out of something big and scary.
yeah, right.
And then, so that kind of led into the new album that just came out on February 25th. Get Yourself
Right,
Outside.
right.
Is the pandemic kind of what inspired it? Were there other things that inspired this album?
I mean, I can only talk about what inspired me, but a lot of the songs, you know, that I have on there kind of they kind of come from where I grew up in Aurora, Illinois, and kind of where I came from. Sort of is more in those songs than previously, songs I would have written. So, I don't know that the pandemic or the shutdowns were overtly on my mind when I wrote that stuff.
Yeah.
Is Up This Hill one of yours?
Yes.
So what was that's a kind of fun song. What was the inspiration there?
One day, and sometimes, or most of the times, when I go for a walk, I like to bring a notebook and see if anything occurs to me, while I'm walking. And just these words in this lyric just kind of came out of nowhere, and I wrote it down. And I thought of the idea of you can kind of begin again every time you go to work, and that was what was behind that.
I swore I'd never stray, swore I wouldn't lose my way. Lord, I made my bets, I locked my cages. Stars are in the air, I put my worries there, my cheap regrets and all my little rages. Up this hill and down again, it becomes a mountain. Way up high, another side, a brand new beginning. Up this hill and down again, it becomes a mountain. Way up high, another side, a brand new beginning. Change my mind, I wonder what I'd find. I'd wander off and lose these crutches. How am I to know everywhere I go what the cost is, what my good luck is? Up this hill and down again, it becomes a mountain. Way up high, it's another side, a brand new beginning. Up this hill and down again, it becomes a mountain. Way up high, it's another side, a brand new beginning. Ahead of me, it's one foot then the other. City disappears, the razor's edge is here. The cut ain't clean and it ain't over. Up this hill and down again, it becomes a mountain. Way up high, it's another side, brand new beginning. Up this hill and down again, it becomes a mountain. Way up high, it's another side, a brand new beginning. Hill and down again, it becomes a mountain. Way up high, it's another side, a brand new beginning. Up this hill and down again, it becomes a mountain. Way up high, it's another side, a brand new beginning.
Up This Hill from Yonder Mountain String Band's newly released album, Get Yourself Outside. We are talking with Dave Johnston, banjo player from Yonder Mountain String Band. So you looking forward to anything? This is the last summit coming up, and boy, so many bands stacked up there. So what are you looking forward to with this last summit?
I'm looking forward to like the company and the good times and the goofing off and the, just all of that kind of vibe,
Yeah.
Obviously looking forward to playing. That should go without saying, but I just want to. I really hope everyone can just like look back and go, man, what a cool thing we created, and what a wonderful mark we made.
No doubt. Well, we're sad to see you go, but we're excited to see you come back again.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
All right, Dave, we got to know. We've been wondering for 2 decades. What's up with the nickname Watermelon? Why Watermelon?
I have no clue ever why I got called that. It's a mystery to me. So.
Well, we've enjoyed it over the years, not knowing what it is, but just sitting in wonder and
Yeah.
So I think we should all wear watermelons this year.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Like sometime we need to be in uncertainties, and that watermelon will signify that.
Some people would put mangoes on their hands and feet, but we'll put watermelons.
Yeah. Hey, perfect. Yeah. Take that, fish.
Well, safe travels out there, Dave. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
It was really fun to catch up and talk to you all.
Yeah, totally. Well, we'll see you. We'll see you at Summit this year.
Keep on rolling, Dave. Thank you, buddy.
All right. Peace. You too.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Wow, so that was cool.
Yeah, big thank you to Sky McDonald and Dave Johnston for giving us their time and
all the good info. We hope to see you out there for the very last String Summit this July in North Plains at Bob Horning's Hideout for the last verse.
Much love, everybody.
You and I headed straight into the west. Sun is rising behind, we're headed straight into the darkness. And it's been so long since I've seen you, but I'm forced to stare at these lines while you're tossing, turning, and dreaming. No, I love you, give you peace of mind. Straight in the darkness, headed you and I.